03 from kicksoncourt.com. Today we have another performance review, and it is on the upcoming Nike Hyperdunk 2013. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. As usual, start off with the traction. Traction is herringbone, but instead of being featured from a heel to toe pattern, it is featured from a left to right pattern or right to left. Basically, this is perfect for lateral movements. Front to back movements are pretty much adequate, no complaints whatsoever. Toe offs are covered by this small piece here on the toe. Hopefully you'll be able to see that, but it's basically some grooves there to really kind of bite and grab that floor for when you push off. But basically, if you are a lateral person, like on the court, quick guards, speedy maneuvers, crossovers, cuts, curls, all of that kind of stuff. If you're a slasher, this is definitely the traction for you. Not only does the traction cover yourself laterally, but all of these flex grooves within the shoe as well make it one of the most flexible Hyperdunks that we've had. It might actually be the most flexible Hyperdunk. This is personally like the one thing of this shoe that I really do love. So yeah, so traction is just straight beast. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. It's fairly pliable, and so it really grips to almost every single court condition I was on without any problems whatsoever. It is a little bit on the soft side, so if you are going to use these outdoors, it will last a decent amount of time just because of the depth or thickness. However, it will grind away eventually. So again, traction I thought was freaking awesome. Cushion, once again, is Lunarlon. It's targeted in the heel and the forefoot. It's not full length, and that is my only complaint. It's just that it's not full length. I think that it should just be full length. I think that the way that they implemented it into the Kobe 8 was pretty much perfect, very comfortable, and provided tons of cushion, and it lasts a pretty long time. So I think that if they do that in something like that for about 140, why can't they do it in something like this? And if you're not going to go all out and go full length lunar, why don't you just put the forefoot and heel zoom units back in there? That's literally like my only complaint. It wasn't bad whatsoever, but if you were expecting anything special, it's not really there. It's basically exactly the same as last year's in the 2012 version of the Hyperdunk. So you know, the cushion's good, but like I said, I just would like it to be full length or just stick with zoom. So the materials are basically mesh, fuse, and flywire, or dynamic flywire, and this is the best use of fuse that they've had so far. It's rubbery. It's not really like hard or anything like that. It's super pliable, super flexible, and they just kind of get better every time they use this type of material, and this is definitely the best use so far. So I definitely love the materials. It's really durable, perfect for indoor, outdoor. It really doesn't matter if you get stepped on and all that kind of stuff. The material is not going to scuff or scrape or peel away. So materials, I really can't say anything other than it's literally like the perfect type of hyperfuse that they've ever used, in my opinion. The overall fit is true to size. I think that these break in quite easily, so if you are a wide footer, you might want to try these on. Again, this type of fuse is pretty soft and pliable, so it will open up a little bit if you are slightly on the wide-footed side. If you're really wide-footed or you have a high arch or something like that, you might, again, want to just try these on just to be safe. But once your foot is inside, everything conforms and wraps around your foot perfectly. That's one of the coolest parts about this type of fuse, is that it is so soft and pliable that it just kind of wraps around your foot, almost like leather would, and it just kind of stays there. This is just a little bit more durable than leather. Yeah, the lockdown is basically provided by the fingers that you can see all the way up here. This was used in a previous model. This guy right here, this is the Nike Zoom Hyper Enforcer, and if you guys remember from this performance review, this material, this is a lot harder fuse, and these were just like about a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that, so it wasn't that long ago, and this fuse is just way different than this one. Same type of structure here. You got flywire inside of the fuse, and it has the same basic purpose, is just to kind of like be like fingers and wrap itself around your foot, but this one does it a lot better, and because the material is flexible, it moves with your foot when your foot moves, so it's not like anything's going to be kind of pulling away or separating during those flexible movements. As far as heel lockdown is concerned, basically you got this higher cut collar in the front. Once that's laced up all the way, just like last year's model, it pretty much wraps itself around your ankle perfectly and keeping everything in place and drawn into the back of the heel. Now the heel does not feature a heel cup, but it does feature this molded foam piece, and this is actually the heel cup itself. Your foot is going to rest basically right about here, so all of this stuff is kind of keeping that foot in the footbed and in the back of the shoe right there, so that it's not moving upon lateral movements whatsoever. I really liked it, and one of the coolest parts is that this piece here is the same material as the tongue, so it's very soft, and you're not going to get any chafing or hot spots or anything like that. Once everything is wrapped up, it just basically fits like a glove. So the overall fit, I thought, just was outstanding. Ventilation in this particular Hyperdunk is basically the same as last year's, at least what I noticed. It wasn't truly noticeable until I went from something like the Air Jordan 15 and then I switched into these guys here, and it basically felt like I had air conditioning on my feet. So I think that if you enjoy ventilation, this is going to be a great option. If you don't care about ventilation, this is going to give it to you whether you want it or not. So overall, I think that it's pretty much a decent feature, and if it's going to be on a shoe like it is here, it was done properly. As far as support is concerned, most of that support is coming from the overall fit along the upper, which it does a very good job of, as well as this heel counter and the TPU shank. The shank just gives torsional support and rigidity, so you're not overextending or overflexing anything, and once again, it does its job perfectly fine. Especially the heel cup here, which I thought was pretty cool, and I think it looks cool. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I personally do. Just a brief recap, traction was straight beastly, no complaints whatsoever, especially if you're a slasher or a guard. This is definitely catering towards those guard movements. If you're a bigger guy, you're definitely going to enjoy the traction just because it's there. But again, smaller guys, this is the traction for you, and it's finally on a Hyperdunk. So I'd give the overall traction score a 10 out of 10. Cushion is adequate, just like last year, same exact score as last year as well. Nothing's really changed, just pretty much a 9 out of 10. The materials are great, they're durable and flexible, they keep your foot into the shoe, and they do a really good job of it, so 10 out of 10. The overall fit and security of the shoe was pretty much perfect. Once again, 10 out of 10. The ventilation is solid score of 9 out of 10. The overall support is also great, so with that being said, this also got a 9 out of 10. With all of that tallied up, the overall score came out to 9.5 out of 10, which pretty much puts these almost identically towards the same exact score as the 2012 model. The only real differences, again, is going to be the traction and that flexibility. I personally think that it's just better in this shoe. Everything else is pretty much on par with last year's model, and hopefully there hasn't been a price, I don't think, that's set, but these are going to be releasing July 20th. So hopefully they don't go past that mark, that 140-ish mark, because I think that if they go past 140 for a Hyperdunk or a team model like this, I don't think it's quite worth it, especially with so little improvements and things like that. Not saying that the improvements aren't worthy, because they are, it's just that so little was done that I don't think it warrants a price increase personally.